So thank you everybody for joining us on today's baseball softball stats tutorial. We're hoping that everyone has a great start to their season. As we move forward, we'll go ahead and give you a bit of an overview on PrestoStats baseball. It's easy and familiar for anyone who's got experience using Stat Crew to use this product. It's going to be the same keystrokes. We're going to learn a little bit more about that as we go along, but it's going to look very similar to you guys. The look is going to be a little bit different, obviously, but as far as the operation, a few advancements from what Stat Crew had, but ultimately it's going to be very, very similar in terms of entering everything. There's not a lot of difference as far as specifics on how you would enter anything. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea on that. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our tutorial.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zaid Hussein. I'm a member of the product development team here, as Brad mentioned, at Presto Sports. Today, I'll be taking you through some demonstrations and core concepts regarding our baseball and softball stats solutions. Um, what you can look forward to today, I'll briefly log into the platform to give you guys a sense of what our game day administration looks like. Here, we'll take a look at roster setup and review. We'll discuss transmission methods as far as stat partners and ways to send data from the platform to external partners. And then we'll move over to the stats platform itself. And at that point, we will look at participation setup, event setup, as far as looking at your event settings, and we'll go ahead and enter some pitch sequences, some batter results, and some runner inputs as well. And then from there, we'll take a look at the reports that we've generated, and we'll go through some of your questions. So first, I will demonstrate logging into our platform here. Depending on whether you're a website user or just a stats user, this domain name will change, but you will get those details from, or you should already have those details um, from your implementation manager. So here's our game day platform. Upon login, you're taken to a list of your current events. As you can see, I have nothing available for today. You also have the seasons that you have access to. Some people will have a pretty long list here. For this demonstration, we've only got a baseball season available to our user. Here's a day with an event. We will go in and take a look at the season itself. Within a given season, you'll see an overview, schedule, stats, links, rosters, and coaches. These tabs also will change depending on your access, but for this demonstration, we'll just discuss the relevant tabs to statting an event. Here you can see we've got 3 events already set up, a doubleheader on one day that is in a final, the other one that is in the top of the 7th, and then we have one on the following day that has not started. So at this point, we will go into a not started event just to demonstrate the roster setup. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at the rosters that we have already set up in game day. It's probably important to mention that all of our rosters are networked across our platform. So if you have a roster set up within game day, our stat platforms will inherit that data. Here is an example of a shared roster within our system. You may add an individual player. We have imports of stat crew roster file types, and you can simply import many players as well via CSV file. We'll go back to the schedule tab here. Let's take a look at a not started event. After clicking into the event, you'll be presented with some core event information details. You may go to the event edit screen, and here you can customize things like the time, what the status of the event is, additional descriptive information, and you can manually enter the score and the status, change it to final or a specific inning if you are not interested in statting the event. So to access the platform, you will simply click this button here, you will have been provided access based on your user profile as well. For this demo, we'll go through live scoring. You can also enter score sheet mode. Score sheet entry is pretty basic. You're not going to get play-by-play details. You'll enter basic things like player hits, total runs. Um, we have documentation that we will direct you to in this video at the end as well. So on the game setup view, you'll see some information that we've pulled over from the system. Everything that is marked with a red asterisk is required. Don't enter the total time yet, because total time essentially will indicate that the event has been finalized. That is probably the last step that you're going to take before finalizing your event. Additional rules: if you need to change the number of batters, if you want to turn off the DH rule or change the number of innings to support a softball event, it can all be done here as well. So in the rosters manager, you can essentially select a player. The rosters, as mentioned before, are pulled in from your shared rosters in game day. Once you select a player, you can either type in the position or you can enter the position code of the player on the diamond. It would be 1 for pitcher, 2 for catcher, 3 for first baseman, and so on. You'll need to set both rosters before you move into the next step of statting the event, or set participants and positions. But for this exercise, we will skip that and go into an event that is already in progress. So as you can see here, I'm navigating back to game day and go into the season. And I will select an in-progress event. In-progress events are defined visually by an orange background here. So here I will launch the platform. We'll go through a quick view description here. You'll see the user that I'm logged in with at the top here, along with the version number, the name of the sport. If you were in a softball event, you would see softball, the current date and time of the event, the line score, and some tabs here, which we'll dive into a little deeper. But you also have your full play-by-play list. The top 3 recent plays are shown. If you dig into the full play-by-play, you can navigate back to previous innings and view those details there and make any edits, inserts, or updates, and we'll dive deeper into those scenarios further on in this presentation. And we also have a broadcast booth. This is kind of what I like to call it. This is a nice tool to have if you're a broadcaster that's statting the game at the same time and you just want some high-level statistics. You can grab your game summary, your visitor stats, home stats, and some broadcasts if you had any set up. Stat partners is something else that we're going to dive into a little later. Essentially, within that game day platform, you have another tab that you can access to set up an FTP integration between us and a stat partner, being CBS, Stat Crew, ESPN, etc. Okay, let's go back and continue reviewing the tabs here. Access to the box scores, full game reports, and downloadable file format, different file formats that we support: XML, JSON, and PDF. You can go back to the setup, back to rosters, and our help section has links to assets that can help you with things like importing rosters, how to set up your game, editing rosters, and cheat sheets and sample situations for keystrokes as you're entering and scoring these plays. So we'll go back to this play here, to this event here. This is the core diamond that you're dealing with. The positions have all been defined. If you choose to, you can substitute a player directly from the diamond itself, or you can go back to that roster tab. If you're making one substitution, it's probably okay to do it from the diamond. If you're going to make multiple substitutions throughout the game or at a given point at any time throughout the game, it may be best just to go to the rosters tab. Next, we also have an input pitches window. This is essentially where you will start your at bat if you are required to enter pitches. You can enter fouls, strikes, looking strikes. Everything's listed here. The current pitcher is listed up top. You may also make a substitution as needed. The current batter and their order is listed up top as well. We will give you the pitch count for this at bat. If you were to escape to go make a change, we would retain that pitch count as well. So for now, let's say that we've got a looking strike, and then the ball was put in play, and we will say that it was a base hit. Here we can see that we've got Edmund singled. If you go back to the play and edit it, you can view the pitches that were accumulated during that at bat. Now, during this, we'll say we've got Scott is up to bat, and we will say Scott hit a double, and we'll send Edmund 2 bases forward. The keystrokes that I'm entering here, if you're familiar with Stat Crew, as Brad mentioned, a lot of you are probably a lot more familiar with it than I am. They should all be one for one. There are some minor differences, but if you ever have any questions, simply refer to the cheat sheet. If you can't find what you're looking for, just email our support team, and we've got some experts in that realm as well. So here, let's say we've got a swinging strike, and then we'll go with balls put in play. And I've already entered the keystroke. We've got a double and Edmund moving to third. Recent plays will all be listed here, as previously mentioned. Game file with each and every play that takes place, we send an updated game file back to CMS, our content management system where we originated. So at any point in the event, you can actually go back to this page and take a look at the most recent XML that we have stored in our system. All of the updates are going to be stored here as well, or a log of the updates will be stored here. But if you ever need to go back and revert to a previous version of the event, say you need to take it back to the bottom of the 6, you simply select the portion of the game that you would like to take it back to, and review the box score and ensure it's the correct one. And if desired, you can absolutely revert that file. Okay, here. So in this case, let's close this out. Put Hernandez on first base, Freeman with a double, and we'll go Hernandez. And if you notice, I'm not inputting pitches here, but if I ever wanted to, I'm free to go back, edit this play, input the pitch sequence. We'll say it was fouled off, and then it was put in play. And the play was edited successfully. Systematically, we will prompt you for information along the way as far as whether a run was earned or unearned, if we cannot discern or if you do not provide that information already. And we are pretty decent about catching errors, so we'd like to think that we are in a state where all of the scenarios that you can enter are valid scenarios. So in essence, you should not get into a situation where that you cannot get out of. But if you ever were to, there were multiple methods of getting out of it, being editing a play or going back to a previous version of the box score. One more thing on this input pitches view. I was using my mouse, I believe, or my keyboard for this portion for the last at bat. You are also free to use your mouse as needed. Common inputs, we'll just touch on them. I'm not going to input every play, but the plus button, 1, 2, or 3 will progress a batter that number of bases. If a batter steals a base, or if a runner, I'm sorry, will progress a runner that number of bases. If a runner steals a base, that keystroke is also defined, and the result would be captured in the play log as well. So I mentioned earlier on the portion of integrating this data across other platforms. Stat Partners is one of the ways that we promote this. If you go to events, stats, Stat Partners, none are currently set up for this team, but you would enter your credentials for the FTP for that given partner. Ensure that you have this set up before the game. It just makes your life a bit easier. So at this point, let's say that we'll run let's close this game out. So inputting pitching, this is the input pitching decisions view. You can access it at any point during the event before you'd like to finalize a game. We can enter these records. Unfortunately, they're all manual. At some point down the line, we'd like to get them automated. And let's enter a total time of 4 hours. And we'll save it. As you can see, changes were synced to the network. I'm not sure if I called that out earlier on. And here is the event finalized in the 7th inning. We'll go back. Here's a box score that the most recent box score that we've captured for said event. If you decide, hey, this event is not final, I need to update this, you are more than welcome to go in, edit the event, set it to in progress, and we'll say from 7th. So launch it again. Okay, and now you're in a state where the event is in progress. Just a fail safe if you ever run into issues. So the last thing that we will go through here is PrestoSync. PrestoSync is one of the methods that we use to transfer data to your local drive. So if you're statting this event and you need to capture an XML that you would like to present to your Daktronics or Nevco scoreboard or any scoreboard that is supporting the XML format, you can use this extension. It's very simple. You essentially would come into PrestoSync. go to change event. This is where you would be taken upon login. A list of the current events would be presented here. And you would simply select the event that you would like to transmit the XML for. So we'll say we're going to send from PrestoStats. And you would select the file location. We'll say this is going to go to our file, to our downloads folder, and we'll name the file BSB demo. We'll give it a date of 01/21/25. So we can start this transmission. As you can see, the system is reading, is connected to game day, obtaining that data as statistics are being input into the platform, and is writing it back to the XML file that was created on your local drive here. Going to stop that transmission. I think there's one more thing that would be prudent to show you guys. We do have the notion of viewing the stats within the platform, as I mentioned earlier. Through the reports tab, you can download the XML. You can simply view the full game report within the platform and print it. But we also have the notion of advanced reports within game day. So you would go to that stats tab where you would go to edit your stat partners. You would click the advanced reports button here. For the purpose of this demo, I've only set up 2 teams, but you can essentially run this report against 1 or multiple teams. So if I had 10 teams here, I could run these reports against all 10 teams. Select those teams. This is the wide date range of the demo season. Typically, the season date range will be a lot smaller than this for you guys. And let's select the combined report. And it will simply list all of the players' combined statistics. Various types of reports here. We're always taking suggestions for new reports and new data to show. So if you guys have any of those, please don't hesitate to share. But yeah, if you would like, you can absolutely print this out, hang on to it in the broadcast booth, and hopefully make your event a bit smoother.
We want to thank you for viewing this PrestoStats training session. For additional content, help articles, and guidance on PrestoStats solutions, please visit help.prestosports.com. For support questions, please head to prestosports.com/support.